at all. Apparently, they don't even know how much money we've already sent to Ukraine.
Do you have a general figure you can give us? I'm not going to stand here and give a precise figure.
Well, it's more than $100 billion, Jake, and apparently not even a government shutdown will stop the funding. It won't even slow it down, that's right. At a time when most Americans are struggling and really worried, millions are at risk of not getting paid if the government does shut down, we're still making sure that the people in Ukraine are taken care of. Joining me now is Kentucky Senator Rand Paul of the Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, 60 Minutes did reporting that, we've been waiting for about where this money is really going, but that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. Seeds and salaries and apparently sweaters in Ukraine.
Well, a significant chunk is non-military. Much of it is going to government salaries. I've also read that it's going to government pensions. And you're right, to add insult to injury, if there's a shutdown, U.S. government workers will not be paid, but Ukrainian workers will be paid by the U.S. taxpayer. There's nothing in the Constitution that allows for spending like this to another country. The spending clause in our Constitution says that Congress can spend according to its enumerated powers, the powers given to it by the Constitution, and also for the general welfare. So it's illegal for the U.S. government, if they want to give $100 billion to my state of Kentucky, they can't do it. That would violate the general welfare clause. What do you think it violates to send it to another country? Our framers never imagined in their worst nightmare that we would send that much money overseas. But it violates every precept of the Constitution, and I'm going to do everything I can to stop it from sending it anymore.
Senator Paul, we saw Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer, walking through the Senate with Zelensky last week, and Zelensky was kind of in front of them, and they were walking. They looked very happy, and I haven't seen McConnell look that happy since I don't know when. But what's happening here? I mean, they're not representing. There's McConnell and Bimmy. They're not representing the views of certainly most Republicans and an increasingly skeptical public about continuing this funding of what looks like now another forever war.
One of Washington's dirty little secrets is that the high-ranking Republicans and high-ranking Democrats really there's not much difference. Not much difference on spending, and certainly not much difference on wanting to give our money away or involve us in foreign wars. But it is quite unpopular. I come from a fairly Republican state now, and nearly 70% of Kentucky Republicans think we've got problems here at home. We had some bad flooding last year. We've had tornado damage. We've got roads that need to be fixed. They can't even get the kids to school in Louisville. It's so bad. But the thing is we don't see why that money should be going over to Ukraine. And just a couple weeks ago, they fired 24 people over there. There's still no inspector general looking over the money. They said $100 billion, and nobody's counting the money, and nobody's looking for the fraud. And Ukraine's always been in the top 10, or historically been in the top 10 for corruption. So now I think it's a huge mistake. It's an unpopular idea, and yet the leaders in Washington are dead set on ramming this down our throat. But I told them I am not going along with it. I will not allow my consent to let them push through more money for Ukraine, particularly when they have the gall to tell us they're going to pay Ukrainian government workers while our workers go unpaid. That is the height of gall, and I won't stand for it.
Senator, that does take the cake, or in this case, the sweater. Thank you very much. The Washington Post is now attacking its own poll. Well, maybe it didn't like the results, just a guess. Dana Perino's taking the news outlet, releasing the results of its own poll, and then distancing themselves in the same report from their own results. Well, that's exactly what happened when a new Washington Post ABC News poll showed that Trump was leading Biden by 10 points, 52 to 42 in a head-to-head matchup. Now, while the poll does seem like an outlier, because they're basically in a dead heat in other surveys, although there's a new poll out today, which we'll get to, we certainly don't recall the Post doing such preemptive torpedoing of its own work pre-2020. Because remember, back then, they had Biden up in double digits over Trump in Wisconsin. And that, too, was an outlier. Meanwhile, a new NBC poll shows the race, yes, neck and neck, which has the regime media sweating.
We look at this poll and we're supposed to think that he's got a reasonable shot to win the presidency, and of course he does.
There's a close race. And there are warning signs there. If Republicans go forward and nominate Trump again, this is what the rematch they're poll would look like right now.
Any Republican should sweep the country with how bad Biden is performing in key demos and on key issues. The Real Clear Politics average has Biden's job approval at 40.8%. Now, his numbers are in the gutter on all the issues that matter: the economy, crime, and the border. Plus, he has trouble with, I guess, or without his no purse.
We're working with Congress to invest $40 billion in our Pacific Islands Infrastructure Initiative. We call it the PGPI anyway. It doesn't matter what we call it, but that's what it is.
Well, some interesting nuggets, by the way, in this Washington Post poll that should send those suffering from TDS into double therapy sessions. Men favored Trump by 62% to 32%. A margin of 30 points. In May, Trump's margin among men was 16 points. Among voters under the age of 35, Trump leads Biden by 20 points. In 2020, Biden won voters under the age of 35 by double digits. Among non-white voters, the poll finds Biden leads by 9 points, but in 4 other public polls, Biden lead among non-white voters ranges from 12 points to 24 points, so that might be something of a decline there. Now, Biden's approval among black voters is actually tanking. A new NBC poll has him down 17% since 2021, but the left doesn't want you to believe that number either.
If you think that he's lost 17% support among African Americans, so you just gotta think, he is not in any trouble with African Americans in this country. I guarantee you that.
Oh, I get it. Every poll that shows Biden is in trouble, that's an outlier. That's a neat trick. The fact that this Washington Post poll actually exists, when we started with, is kind of a big deal because I think it gives Republicans and everyone sick of Biden some hope. Now, the establishment knows that if the GOP thinks its party has no chance, then next year, a lot of those voters just won't bother voting, and they certainly won't bother organizing. And that, plus another fake emergency, is the Democrats' best chance to win with a loser. Joining me now is Dana Freno, co-host of The Five, America's Newsroom, and is one of the moderators for the second Republican primary debate on Fox Business this Wednesday. It's very exciting, Dana. Great to see you tonight. The Washington Post is clearly kind of attacking its own poll, which is, I honestly don't think I've ever seen that.
All the comforters, we're here for you. The source of comfort for everyone. Experience the redesigned Serta Perfect Sleeper.
I think it was in the subhead where they first kind of threw a wet blanket on their own poll. What is your reaction to that?
Right. It's very difficult to throw yourself under a bus, but the Washington Post achieved that the other day. And I noticed that Nate, I believe it.
Xin chào tất cả các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn mắc một bé bí ngô như thế này.